What's up YouTube? My name is Adrian from MMOs World and we are going to be taking a look at the top 5 best story-driven MMORPGs that are on the market today. The age-old entertainment of telling a story. The early years of MMORPG were very sandbox in nature, allowing players to create their own stories with the characters they build and the friends they meet online, going on raiding adventures or coming up against others in PvP. Today, storytelling in MMORPGs have become a big thing, as more and more MMOs offer players a narrative-driven, theme park gaming experience with lots of lore and NPC characters bundled in a setting, either original or using a popular IP. Therefore, if you're wondering which are the best story-driven MMORPGs on the market today, look no further. We've put together a solid list of some of the best story-driven MMOs. The list is based on multiple factors such as story immersiveness, quality of cutscenes, dialogues, lore, and more. Before we begin though, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more MMORPG top 5s. Starting off the list at the number 5 position is ArenaNet's Guild Wars 2. Guild Wars 2 has made our previous lists, being one of the best MMOs around in terms of accessibility thanks to its very generous buy-to-play model. But what we have not talked about is the game's PvE offering, especially its narrative-driven personal stories. Personal stories are the game's main story quest chain and is character-based. They are unlocked every few levels and will differ based on some of the character creation options that players picked at the very beginning. What's great about the stories are that it takes place in unique dialogue cutscenes with fully voiced characters and animations. To top it off, the actual story isn't too shabby for a fantasy MMO. Spoiler alert, you're discovering things about yourself and find out that a dragon is becoming a threat to the world and must spend the later levels uniting the various races of Tyria to fight as one. It may seem cliche, but the story really builds up and it's hard not to get invested in it, thanks to the world and character building. But in recent times, Guild Wars 2 has taken its storytelling quality to greater heights. The Heart of Thorns expansion in 2015 raised the bar with its narrative and changed the way how plot is delivered to the player. Cutscenes and dialogue now take place in the actual game world and is more immersive than ever. The story has also gotten better and now carries over into the Living World season stories, which serves as a massive continuation of the game's main story campaign. Outside the actual main story, the world itself does a lot of cohesive storytelling through world events that ties into the zones that it takes place in. Some of the personal stories in the base game will even reflect in changes to the later zones, which is really cool. Overall, if you're looking for a good MMO with a decent story to play through, look no further than Guild Wars 2. Up next and at number 4 is Standing Stone Games' The Lord of the Rings Online. Finally, we get to an MMORPG that's based on an officially licensed intellectual property, and in this case, Tolkien's world-renowned Middle-earth and Lord of the Rings trilogy. Make no mistake, the entire game is centered around Frodo's quest to destroy the One Ring. Lotro offers a solid main quest chain called Epic Quests that has humble beginnings in the Shire, Bree, and Eret Luin. Spanning over 10 years worth of main story quests, the adventure takes players around Middle-earth to play a big part behind the scenes in the Fellowship's quest to destroy the One Ring and foil the Dark Lord Sauron's plans. To their credit, the developers have chosen authenticity over anything else when it comes to the story. It's very lore appropriate, and if you are a Tolkien fan, you will appreciate the narrative storytelling here. There are lots of things in the books and appendices that Tolkien doesn't elaborate on, and in most cases the game takes the opportunity to expand upon it. As a result, if you're a Lord of the Rings fan, the stories in Lotro are hugely satisfying. What the game makes up for its lack of cinematics and voice dialogue is in its authentic writing. Not to mention the feel of the world is great, supported by rich music and themes that just belongs in Middle-earth. Outside of the main story quests, zone quests also offer a ton of storytelling on a platter. Each region in Middle-earth contains a zone story told through a fun quest hub crawl, and more often than not, you will learn and experience something new or authentic, just a piece of lore within the books. So if you're a hardcore Tolkien fan, Lotro is a great game to soak your time into for its massive storytelling quest that does the lore a great service. At number 3 on our list is Square Enix's Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reborn. This Japanese MMORPG has a lot going for it, especially considering its disastrous start to life under its previous iteration, now known as the 1.0 version. Essentially, Final Fantasy XIV is a story-heavy game. The entire MMO design revolves around players needing to progress the main story. Doing so will offer lucrative amounts of experience points. The main story is also required to unlock a majority of the dungeons and other in-game activities. Not a lot of MMOs out there actually do this, lock content behind the main story. While that may seem draconian and traditional, is the story worth playing through it all? The answer is yes. The main quest chains in A Realm Reborn has all the hallmarks of a Final Fantasy game. It has a powerful narrative, featuring likable characters and a plot that's worthy of an offline RPG game. On top of that, a lot of the main story quests features long and elaborate cinematic cutscenes that Final Fantasy players are familiar with. It's almost non-MMO in style, but it's a pure joy if you enjoy a good story. The writing is decent, and while dialogue can be a hit or miss due to translations, it still offers something for everyone. Outside the main stories, there are class stories for every profession in-game too. These can be picked up every 5 levels and features a lot of backstory on why the class you've chosen matters. Overall, there's a lot of good story locked away in Final Fantasy behind that monthly subscription if you can afford it. At number 2, we go to a galaxy far, far away with BioWare's Star Wars: The Old Republic. SWTOR may have garnered a reputation for being one of the most restrictive free-to-play MMOs, but it does do one thing very right, and boy do they get their storytelling absolutely right. SWTOR is an immersive narrative-driven game, and right from the get-go, players will be sucked into one of the class stories that lasts all the way to level 50 for absolutely free. The writing is top-notch and typical of BioWare. Expect to see loads of cutscenes, and that's not just for the main class stories. In fact, every side quest, large or small, has its own cutscene and is 100% fully voiced by some of the best in the industry. What's great about the game's use of story in the main class quests is that there are decisions that absolutely matter. Evil choices gain you alignment with the dark side, while good-hearted decisions do the same for the light side. The game's companion system is also fantastic, allowing you to develop relationships with the companions that follow you around. It's in the post-level 50 class stories that SWTOR truly shines these days. The latest expansions, for example, is chock full of cinematic cutscenes that absolutely brings out the best of BioWare's storytelling. While you'll need a subscription to play these, the older class quests are free for all and still excellent. So if you need a Star Wars game that has great narratives and plot, then jump into Star Wars: The Old Republic. At number 1 is a game you probably didn't expect. Say hello to Funcom's The Secret World, or its upcoming free-to-play Secret World Legends, which is essentially the same game. This MMORPG is absolutely unique, and its entire existence revolves around the game's immense storytelling. The Secret World is set in today's world, modern day, contemporary, and what makes it special is that in it, all conspiracy theories, myth, and urban legends are true. Players select from one of 3 secret society factions, the Illuminati, the Templars, or Dragon. And right from the beginning, the game pulls no punches in throwing mind-bending narratives right at you. The writing is excellent, questioning all that you know regarding the world and what is real and fiction. The dead walk the earth, Cthulhu is alive and well, mummies are cropping up in Egypt, and somewhere in Europe, Transylvania is a real place. It's a hot pot of mixed narratives that are combined and delivered in immersive ways. All quest givers engage you in long cinematic dialogues, and for the most part say witty things and make references to today's pop culture. It's a unique take on MMOs, and it's a shame that the original game never reached its full potential. However, with the relaunch coming very soon, Secret World Legends will be offering its epic storytelling for free. If you've never heard or played this one, mark your calendars on June the 26th. This is one story-driven MMORPG you do not want to miss. And there you have it, folks. That's our top 5 best story-driven MMORPGs for 2017. Which MMOs do you think should also make the list? Leave your thoughts in the comments section below. For more on MMORPGs, hit that subscribe button and check us out at mmosworld.com. As ever, I'm Adrian from MMOs World, signing out.